In case you don't know, in case you might have forgot, Stacy Abrams is a horrifyingly corrupt individual. She's the one who's doing the grimace impression with the chia pet hair right in the middle of your screen there. But yeah, her corruption knows no bounds. In fact, it trickles over and it runs in the rest of the family. And that's about the only thing that runs in that family. The judge, who is Stacy Abrams' sister, blocks challenges to voter eligibility in 2 counties ahead of a Senate runoff. Now, as much as the Democrats and her sister, who is a judge and has also taken the last name of a certain prosecutor who tried to make a small fortune off of the backs of illegally prosecuting the McCloskey couple in St. Louis, Missouri, Leslie Abrams Gardner is doing some legitimate voter suppression. But as we're going to see here, it's confession through projection. As the lead attorney for the Democrats on this one is going ahead and saying that this ruling from this very honest and very corrupt... Oh, did that slip out? This very honest and very noble judge who bends the bench in Georgia has ruled in their favor. Therefore, it's a strike against that evil GOP who just only wants to suppress legal voters that definitely still live in Georgia. Anyways, Judge Leslie Abrams Gardner, a federal judge in Georgia and sister of failed gubernatorial candidate Stacy Abrams, effectively blocked challenges to voter eligibility in 2 Georgia counties ahead of the January 5th Senate runoff. Yeah. And you know what's weird? Okay, this one always strikes me weird. Okay, Stacy Abrams was nothing. She only made her name for losing to Brian Kemp in 2018. Before that, she was sitting way in the fucking back. Not a race thing. That was just the only oversized seats that could accommodate her in the Georgia State House. No, she was literally doing nothing. There's very little about her history, and all she did was just receive George Soros funding, legitimately, not invoking him as the rights boogeyman, to run against Brian Kemp in an effort to modify and change the entire face of Georgia politics. Well, I guess it just took 2 years longer than expected. Anyways, let's get to the story now that we have the background. Gardner on Monday ruled in favor of Majority Forward, a nonprofit organization, former Clinton campaign attorney Mark Elias, who remains at the helm of many of the voting challenges seated throughout the United States. He contended that Republicans tried to disenfranchise thousands of voters, particularly 44,000 in Georgia counties, Muskogee County, and Ben Hill County, based on groundless change of address data. Yeah, let's take a look a little bit closer here because the Republicans kind of have a claim on this one, and the Democrats kind of have absolutely nothing. It's kind of like a plate at a Golden Corral buffet if the Abrams family is waddling through. A voter named Ralph Russell brought forth a challenge in mid-December, alleging that he had compared evidence from publicly accessible voter registration databases to prove that these voters had moved out of Georgia. Similar projects have been happening across the United States. I can definitely say for sure Michigan and Pennsylvania have been accounted for when it comes to out-of-state voters, dead voters, multiple-time voters. Remember, guys, the Democratic slogan, vote early, vote often. Russell reportedly told the board that he believed that the individuals, as a result of registering their name and change of address to a location outside of Muskogee County, removed to another state with the intention of making the new state their residence. That is a change of address. And as you can see here, because that takes care of Muskogee County, I'm going to take a look at Ben Hill County. Board supervisor, a similar challenge from Fitzgerald City Council members Tommy Roberts. The challenge are part of True the Vote's greater effort to expose fraud access across the United States, particularly on behalf of Georgia voters as the runoffs quickly approach. And the only way that you can vote in the Georgia runoffs is if you are eligible to vote in the general election. So all of those fucking soy-laden leeches that are moving down there so very quickly in order to swing the Senate because they have nothing better to do with their lives are going to be so very, very disappointed. Unless they just get a hold of a mail-in ballot and just send it in, because nobody checks those in Georgia. Ugh. True the Vote has submitted 364,541 written elector challenges on behalf of voters in Georgia, representing all 159 counties. But all of those are just lies, because there's no evidence of widespread voter fraud, right? News of the challenge came in a press release in which organization defined the challenge as a unique feature in Georgia law, identified Georgia codes, yes, the code there, According to True the Vote, the law allows a voter to challenge the eligibility of any other voters in his or her county if probable cause exists to show that the challenged voter does not meet the qualifications legally required to cast a ballot. So if somebody moved out, somebody knows that that person moved out, you have a right to challenge, okay? Actually, it doesn't even need to be that strong. You just need probable cause. You just need a reasonable doubt in order to make that accusation. It represents one of the few vehicles that the state have to update voter rolls ahead of an election without compromising any legitimate voters' rights to have their vote counted. And this is very important because I'm being told that Georgia runoff is very, very, very important, and you guys should really be taking this seriously because it's definitely not just a couple of rhinos who are just kind of pushing out whatever the public kind of wants to hear, and their voting record is a little bit sus anyways. Ongoing debates about the November election throughout the country have Americans focused intently on improving the integrity of our elections and restoring faith in the voters. True the Vote founder Catherine Engelbrecht said in a sentence. Gardner, however, here she comes, sided with the plaintiffs, concluding that the counties improperly relied on unverified change of address data to invalidate registrations. Oh my God, she couldn't even be bothered to read. Well, if she's made it that far, I can't make the very hack joke that she can't read, but let's see here in her ruling. The court had considered plaintiffs' motions for temporary restraining orders supporting authorities and the evidence and pleading of the records to find that, number one, plaintiffs are likely to succeed on the merits of their claim. Why? Why is that? It's because Mark Elias's groups challenged the lengthy roster of voters simply because their registrations appeared to match US Postal Service change of address records. Yep. Relying on the US Postal Service, that money-losing operation that continues to get subsidized and outperformed by literally every other private mail carrier. You're going to rely on them. When you're a Democrat, you can use anything to justify a ruling. It's almost like finding standing and taking up a lawsuit is just about who you know. It's not about the substance of the lawsuit. It's just about if it benefits your cause du jour. Weird. Plaintiffs will suffer irreparable injury unless the court issues an injunctive granting relief. Not really. The threatened injury to plaintiffs outweighs possible harm with the injunction may cause the opposing parties, and number 4, the injunction is in public interest. Public democratic interest. Let's get that straight, okay? Really kind of detrimentally affects any GOP or any Republican members out there, but because Democrats are in charge now, for the most part, they're just in all of the institutional positions, or the Republicans that are there are the likes of Brad Raffensperger and Brian Kemp. Would you consider them New Wave Republicans? I don't think so. I could think of many colorful descriptions of them, and ethical human beings is not amongst them. The court thus finds the plaintiffs have clearly established their burden of persuasion as to each of the 4 factors according to the plaintiff's motion is granted. There we go, and you see democracy die right in front of your eyes just because your sister is on the bench. Because previously she was under the bench. This makes no sense. A judge, the sister of Stacy Abrams, ruled that when someone tells the US Postal Service they have moved, they can still vote from their old address. Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary under George W. Bush. Wow, that's impressive considering that nobody from the old neocon establishment would ever come out and say anything fucked up about the election. Would you like to see it? Remarked following the news on the ruling. Yes, this makes no sense. I concur, Ari. Elias referred to the ruling as a blow to GOP voter suppression. Yes, goddammit, we want the ghosts of the people that used to live in those goddamn houses be able to vote because they told the United States Postal Service. That's a good thing. Yeah, well, fuck, if you want any kind of lawsuit to go out there, just make sure that you know somebody who's a fucking judge who has a big black robe. I know you're trying to scare the people with all of those people with all the white robes out there, but we should be just as afraid as the people who are in the black robes. And if you'd like to voice your displeasure with Stacy Abrams and the rest of her family, she will be joining the corpse of Julia Louise Dreyfus. Like, have you seen that bitch lately? She is looking awfully crypt keepery. On Tuesday, for what has been described as a final grassroots... Oh my god, I can't even keep my fucking face together for that one. Who supports the Democrats? All the big tech institutions. All of your big billionaires. Yes, exactly. Okay, for every Peter Thiel, there are 1,000 Mark Zuckerbergs. Okay, just fucking save it. Fundraiser to flip Georgia blue, blue, blue. And also an apropos description of how Kamala Harris got started in politics. But I think that's a fun way to end today. The story has been brewing for a while. Didn't know how quite to tackle it. I still don't know what the fuck is going to happen with this, because I am certain that this is going to get appealed and then just looked at and be like doing a name check and being like, no, this bitch is fucking nuts. So a boy can dream, of course. Anyways, guys, go out, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. I will be doing the same. I got a bunch of stuff that I'd like to do, because guess what? Tomorrow's New Year's Eve. Can you believe it? We're fucking already there. Anyways, guys, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday like I was saying. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.